Hey, how's it going? Joshua 6 Up Tabletop. Doing a hobby musing. This is kind of a hobby chat. Talking about modeling, painting, and kind of just my experience with Starcraft, the tabletop miniatures game. Taking a look at the Terran Starter set. This is the Founders Edition. So I also have another video out there on my painting some of the Zerg if you're interested with that. And without further ado, as you can see some models here, let's get into the models that were painted. Alright, taking a look here, I got my Raynor's Raiders, and what that is in the game is it's basically Jim Raynor's unique unit. I did a painting video for them, so check that out on the channel if you're interested. The primary goal of this force really is to experiment with different techniques, and to use the clear plastics that were provided and just see what I can do with them. So for Raynor's Raiders, there wasn't anything too much in terms of like modeling or building. For painting, I did well, I guess for modeling there is a specific loadout for these guys. For normal Marines, you can choose your loadout, so I would go on the Army Builder to check out the requirements for them. Like I said, I did a painting video on this. I tried a bunch of like reds, magentas, different washes on them. I used transfers from different Warhammer kits, and I tried to freehand some Terran iconography on the models. I think this is one of the better ones that turned out. I used some oranges, so I just did very basic grays, oranges, a little bit of brown, and then some different washes on top of them. And I think they did pretty good, and they stand out pretty well. Let's take a look at Jim Raynor. Alright, there he is, Jim himself. Now, this was probably the most hobbied model I did. I took some Zerg pieces from my friend's half. The Zerg have extra bodies, basically extra halves when you determine, what kind of Zerg you're making. So I got one of those halves. I added basically another rock onto the base, so he's standing much taller. I took some of the grass from the terrain that came in the Founders kit. So that was kind of how I made the base. The armor I painted very similar to Raynor's Raiders that I just covered. In this case, I did not use the clear. He has like a skull pattern on his mask, and I tried to paint that the best I could. Let's see, we're having some trouble zooming in there, but I tried to paint it the best I could. It turned out okay. I put a little varnish on to give it a little shiny look after I sprayed it with matte varnish. But from afar, it looks pretty cool. Added some blood onto the bayonet, and there he is, Jim Raynor. So with the specialty squads out of the way, my goal for this project is I wanted to kind of have like red player vibe for my army, as I saw a lot of the promotional materials is just painted in blue for the Space Marines, and I wanted to these are some of the newer paints I got. These acrylic gouaches, so I wanted to use these two reds built into the scheme. So you can see a little bit of there. I did paint up some minerals. And yeah, so silver, pretty much, I sprayed the models in silver, and then I just painted the red on top. I used the clear plastics as much as I could for the guns. In terms of transfers, I did have these Warhammer transfers. I think this is for the Imperial Guard, so it's just numbers, so they're all 113, so that'll be just kind of the squad. And then this is another transfer. Kind of looks like a flower or a rose, and it's not really Starcraft with anything, but just from playing Starcraft 1, seeing all the cool wild stuff that they put on the pauldrons, I figured why not. Cool shot here with the pistol with the clear plastics. Really love Archon Studio doing that. And the clear plastics with the visor. So not too bad. These guys were pretty easy, not too much time or work put into them. I like the minerals, how it plays on the base with the red. Did some edge highlighting on the black for the guns. But overall, that's that. Take a look at the next unit. Okay, this is the point defense drone. In the same red, it's like the laser right here, shooting out. I just used, basically silver, red, and black, sticking to that scheme. Here are the clear plastics that came in the kit. Nice thing about this is if you glue it correctly, each of these things can spin. So that's the only hobby thing I'd be aware of. Use the clear plastic on the base. Not too much to go in here. It's probably one of the simpler models that I did. With the red and black scheme, we got the 2 marauders that come in the base. These were pretty cool to paint, actually. Just black paint and just added some of the reds. You can see here the just a little bullet and the silver. I think the oranges look nice. I mean, there's almost a gradient to the clear plastic. This seems a little thinner. It's like a little thicker in the middle, so it creates like its own effect. I mean, you could paint those like smoke coming out if you wanted to. In terms of building, I didn't do too much. Just kind of built the stock that I wanted. Options, I added more numbers, probably also from a Warhammer kits. There's the Terran symbol, at least from what I see, and media, digital media and stuff. But I decided not to go with that, and I just decided to give them basically unit numbers, and I think it fits well with the black and the white. For modeling these guys, did some edge highlights with like a light gray purple on the black area, so that took a little bit of time. And then did a oil wash brown with the same similar color brown to the base to kind of tie it in. It looked a lot better after adding a little bit of brown. You could see a little bit of oil wash on the metals there, but this didn't take too long, and it's one of the simpler models. I didn't really paint much of the undercoat or anything, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. I mean, on the camera here, the oranges really pop, and I think they're pretty sick. Alright, getting into the medics. Such a cool kit. Great use of the clear plastics. I pretty much just stuck to the clear plastics. Once again, you can see I added the minerals onto the bases here. Stuck with the red scheme. I think it looks pretty good with the clear plastics. You can see, you can't see that well, but I painted the face underneath. Looks decent. I did kind of a slow application process of like wet dry brushing, like dabbing, adding it up from like a bone color, going up like 4 or 5 steps to get a white, and then I added a contrast wash over it. So you can see that kind of in the recesses here for the white armor. You can see that a little bit more in the back of the shield. It took a long time to do that. I'm fairly happy with how they turned out. This was all done by hand. I think in retrospect, maybe airbrushing white and then maybe just doing an oil wash on top might turn out okay and save me a bit of time. I don't know if all the steps that I went into, I really wanted to make some really cool medics, and I think they turned out pretty good. But I definitely spent a lot of time, and I'm happy with the result. But I think I put more time than I needed into these models. But I think the red and the white and the black scheme looks good, and the green pops pretty nice with the clear plastics. Alright, so that's it. That's the Terran part of the Founders Edition starter set. Hope you got something out of it. Maybe you're watching, you got your own set. Hope you're having a great time modeling and hobbying. Maybe you learned something, some ways that you want to model your models. Or maybe you were thinking about trying a similar technique and you didn't quite like how it looks on my models, which is totally fine. Appreciate you guys sticking around, and hopefully we'll get Protoss once I finish painting that starter set as well. So this is Josh with Tabletop, 6 Up Tabletop, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.